and welcome to the best thing you watched with Chris from Movies and Munchies and Ruben from the Ruby Tuesday. We are back talking about literally the best things, TV series, movies that we watched, and we're going to do a new segment as always on the podcast version at the end. Well, on the podcast extra segment, so not at the end. You can go and find that on Anchor or Apple, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find podcasts. We are there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in today. Chris, I'm excited to talk about it because I've kept one at least secret. There's one I'm very excited to talk about. Yeah. But first, what have you got? I built that up so nicely. I was
you're right at the so much anticipation. Well, okay. So you know what? Top of my list, the thing that I really wanted to talk about this week has to do, surprisingly enough, when we didn't discuss this beforehand, but your outfit. Arcane on Netflix, yes. the League of Legends turned adaptation, maybe anime series, animated series. Okay,
you're so upset about this.
I'm really upset. So last week when it first came out, it debuted at 7 p.m. I believe Pacific time. Now I'm on the West Coast. Ruben, if you can't tell by his accent, he is not from the U.S. And currently he is located over in the U.K. And so we have quite the time difference there. So for me, it was like perfect when it released. I'm like, sweet, okay, I get to jump on viewing it and reviewing it. And so late last night, I'm going to bed thinking, okay, we'll get up, we'll do our podcast, and then I'll have some time, and then I'll watch Arcane again. I wake up to find your review already posted for Act 2, the next 3 episodes of this show. I'm like, what the... Netflix, dang it. So
they changed the time.
They did. Oh, but I've never played the game. Okay, I mean at all. Like I don't even I don't know if it's a computer game, if it's a platformer, like if you have to go, on PlayStation or Xbox, or if it's just purely computer, just online. I mean, I'm guessing it's just online, but anyway, that just tells you where I come from when I watch the show. So I go in completely blind. The only thing that drew me in was the animated style that I saw in a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it. First off, I mean, the cell shading, beautiful. Just so vibrant, so detailed, so close to realism, and yet not. But then, most importantly, I'm sucked into the story, where we have these, you have the haves and the have-nots almost. I mean, we show, and what I've learned from the comments is that we've only been shown a very, very small portion of this entire universe here.
Yeah.
So we got, the 2 worlds, one kind of top side, one kind of bottom side. The top side is the rich one. The bottom side is not so much, and that's more where your thieves and your hooligans live and hang out. And then you have this group of, they're thieves, who encounter something that allows them to, that's a power. And just, we're getting to know the characters. And by the end of 3 episodes, there has been emotional punch. I mean, there has been, intrigue, deception, heartbreak, a lot of action, just... Every bit of this, the first 3 episodes at least, have drawn me in so much. Did you enjoy the show? And without too many spoilers, please, for episodes 4, 5, and 6. Ruben, what did you? I mean, are you enjoying it or what?
I mean, I don't think I would have dressed up, or tried to dress up. This is just my normal wear. This is what I look like. I want to be a steampunk anime dude in my daily, or like a goth anime dude in my daily life. If I could pull it off properly, I probably would. I loved it. End of episode 3 gut punched me heavy. I was just so blown away with what they did there. And the willingness to kill your darlings, I think, like the Stephen King thing, that moment at the end. I'm not saying who, but obviously in series like this, people die. But I was just I think my jaw was on the floor. I was equal parts no and equal parts dang. Like, okay, this is dark. The next episodes, there's a bit of a time skip. So they're kind of grown up. You've seen, it's basically the repercussions of what has happened. So it makes for a very interesting world there. There's the arcane stuff that's going on. There's the politics up top side. There's down below, which has kind of new boss, and things are just spiraling even further out of events. And you see where the players that are left, you see where they're at. But the story is still the sisters, which I really like. Because they are the focus. You care about both of what they're going on. You want them to sort out their issues because they had some deep-rooted issues, especially with what happened at the end. And so it focuses massively on that. But also, cleverly enough, there's a couple of other characters that we've seen before, but that they spend a little bit more time on this, and it kind of very quickly puts you into I actually like these characters. I'm not sure whether they're good or bad, but I want to see more from them. So it's I guess expanding the world. The thing I'm a little bit worried about is that we only have 3 episodes left, and it hasn't gone to the places yet that I wanted to. So I really want them to lean into the sort of the fantasy. They've dealt a little bit with some of the characters you see in League, but there's so many more to choose from. And this is early days, but I know the fans want to see certain actors, certain characters. They want to see them use magic properly. They don't want it to just be a thing that's trying to learn, that they just want to see a full-fledged wizard do something cool, right? Someone harness it. I don't know that we're going to get that this season. I think probably they'll end on a thing with a little clip at the end of episode 10 or 9. I think it's 9. 9. And then people are already talking about the second season. There's no doubt in my mind that we will get 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons from this. It has budget from League, which has huge budget. It has the green light from Netflix and a superb score. Like, the score is excellent. Like, it puts you in the zone. Man, I love this series. It's so good. It ticks all my adventure boxes. It's dark in places that I wasn't expecting to be. It's so vibrant in the darkness way. Like, you have those dark punk neon... The neon color scheme in these next 3 episodes. We have like a Tiny Tina character. You know Tiny Tina from Borderlands? I don't know if your kids have played Borderlands, but this is this crazy character that is like a young girl. Her mind is fractured because of stuff that has happened. And so she's always crazy and building bombs and tinkering. And so we have that character who's excellent, but like full of neon colors. Oh, cool. Very, very cool. A lot of fun.
Well, and I loved, I was getting ready and watching the first 3, I'm collecting imagery and I'm seeing character posters, and I kept seeing this poster for Jinx, and I'm like, where is this character going to come? It looks like, just based on hair color, I'm like, well, you look a little like Powder, but I don't know.
Well, do you remember the end of...
well, that's the thing, though. Yes, when it comes down to the dialogue at the end of episode 3, I'm like, oh, that... Whoa. And that setting up, me being able to tell, oh, wow, you're setting up this really, hopefully, awesome arc where it could be explosive and certainly dynamic, very emotional. And so I'm looking forward to that. I love so far what I've been given and what we've seen. Some people had commented to me, or just in the comments of my review, that they have been waiting for this for like a really long time. That you have some video game developers who are more developers, and then they hire on storytellers or people to build out that world. And they were like, well, Riot Games is really more of a cinema studio who then built a video game. And so, they were focused...
because they've been fully involved in this. Yeah.
And it shows. This is probably the best cell shading animation that I've seen.
It's beautiful, man. It is so beautiful.
am like, I'm in awe as I sit there. Like, I just, like, it's like, almost like I need to watch it several times. Once, just to look at the art, not pay attention to any of the dialogue or anything that's going on, just to be like, whoa, look at that and that and that. And just, it's very immersive. I've got it. Beautiful.
So to give you an idea of the scope of League of Legends, League of Legends player count has reached a total of 150 million monthly users, according to their recent data, King of Games.
So just a handful. Just a tiny bit.
Not a small game. So it has a big fan base. So it's one of the reasons, I think, because the first season has been so good and so enjoyable. Yeah, I don't even need to cross my fingers. Why wouldn't Netflix go, yeah, please give us more?
Yeah. This a no-brainer. I mean, my guess is that we will probably see this tick up in the popularity, so that it becomes something that they cannot ignore. I mean,
sort of like Stranger Things or The Witcher, that sort of stuff. That is managed to get more past the just the geek, like the 150 million geeks. That's not a small number, but then maybe get into the zeitgeist of the population, and then you've done well.
Yeah, and I think it does. I think it has much farther reaching application or interest than just from those that play the game. I mean, you obviously you're going to be very curious if you are in that world already. But because of the storytelling so far, I think it's very accessible, and I think it's something that, if you're just looking for some really good entertainment with a great storyline and some deep characters and conflict within that, this is, I mean, it is, like you said, it's ticking all the boxes.
Yeah. I haven't seen many negative comments either, which has surprised me, because when you come to that has a really diehard fan base, I would say, you would think that, because normally with this, I mean, you think about Marvel, Star Wars, any sort of big fan base, Lord of the Rings, there's always, when they do something, yes, but you haven't included this, you haven't done that. Mostly positive. There's been slight niggles, but it's one that they seem to have really managed to capture what people wanted. Yeah. I that's what everybody. I think the biggest thing is finally it has come out. We've been waiting for this. Maybe that's the biggest negative, is that it hasn't been. It's been too long, or so long in the coming that they're like, dang, finally, okay. Yeah, so let's hope that we don't have to wait 3 years, because that's a thing that can kill it.
Agreed. Yeah, we need to. I would hope that as they were in production for this, that they were doing more and more seasons or episodes within, so that they can close that production gap, or at least the release gap, so that they can give us these in a somewhat regular interval. Absolutely,
100% agree. So this was also on my list as the best thing I wanted to watch. So I'll move on to my next one, which is one that barely anybody has reviewed, which makes me sad. But I don't know if you, in your household, when you became a real boy, there were things that you watched together as a family, and sometimes they were documentaries. And we had that, on a Sunday afternoon, we'd watch something to chill out, and then we'd watch a nature documentary, and we'd always be amazed at what they managed to capture. And the ones that stick in my mind that I remember had stories to go with them, so that it would follow a family. So here Netflix dropped a new short miniseries. Is 4 episodes. It's called Animal. I think people are finding it hard to find, if you're searching about it, because there are so many films and other documentaries called Animal. That it can get lost in the wayside. Barely anybody's talking about it. It's unfortunate, because it's some of the best footage I've seen, but put in a way that makes you care about the animals, because they follow 8 sets of animals, and it's a story that's narrated by top tier actors. So we've got Bryan Cranston, Pedro Pascal, Rebel Wilson, Rashida Jones. We've got Anthony Mackie for season 2 because it's already been greenlit. Bryan Cranston was fantastic. He did the Dogs one, and his voice was just buttery. We got Rebel Wilson, who did Australia, which obviously that kind of goes hand in hand. You have a whole hour dedicated to marsupials, which is the Rebel Wilson one, and octopuses. And if you've ever seen My Octopus Teacher, that film's incredible. There's a reason why it won Best Documentary that year, which is another Netflix one. And so they go into more detail about like how intelligent the species of octopus are and how they're basically alien. There are new technologies that we can bring in because the more we pass time, the better our lenses get. Things that we couldn't do even a year ago, never mind 10 years ago. Totally changed up the game. So there's this night vision technology that they're using, which isn't green anymore.
Ooh.
It's white.
Ooh.
And it's almost like the reverse of colors. So you see their outline as if you're watching during the day, but it's night. It's like the animals are almost not infrared, what's the heat vision almost, but like white. Okay. But you see everything, so you can see their mouths move at night, that sort of detail. And so we're getting to see stuff that has happened in nature that we've never seen before. You get to see a marsupial, a kangaroo being born. I'm trying to think of the correct term. Like a grow from embryo, and how it crawls up the mother's, I guess, womb into her sac, and then grows there. They must have had like a tiny camera just like implanted or something. I don't know how they did it, but it was incredible. They're just moments. And then positively, there's things like in Patagonia, there's a land that's been kept away from humans for 50 years. It's just the animals. And because of that, there's a species of deer that now is rapidly growing, and it was on the extinction list. It was very close to being gone. And because of that, in response, we have cats now coming back in to hunt the pumas. And we're seeing animals doing things that are totally different to what we learned in school books, where like pumas were individual roaming characters, individual hunters. They're doing stuff together as a pack and cuddling. And so it's very interesting. It's like very different. I was like, this is like riveting. I was only going to put one episode on, and then I was like 2.5 hours later, it's like, oh dang, okay. So good.
How long are each of the episodes? Are they like close to an hour?
They're about an hour, about 50 minutes, I think. But once you start, you're like, this. The narration helps, and the stories as well. It's one of those, when you're rooting for the animal, but it's the circle of life, but you still don't want the crocodile to eat the small like lion cub, right? It's that sort of thing.
The true real life drama that we get sucked in. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't checked that out. I need to. I do enjoy good animal documentaries. I mean, I hate it when they get sad, but I do know that, I mean, that is life. I mean, it is expected. But I think, like, you're right. It speaks to the quality of the storytelling within and the presentation when I am terrified for this character within the show that I'm like,
just an animal. I guess because it's real. It's like, okay, I know you've embellished this somehow, and now I have crazy scientist hair.
I love it.
You've obviously embellished and created and edited them to make yourself a story. But the animals are real, and they're following him as a family. So at some point, you're like, yeah, this must have happened. It's real world. Yeah, very interesting.
Sweet. Well, that's a
so
good
what's
one.
Next on your list?
I ventured out to the theater this week, and
well done. You saw people.
I did some. Which
how were they?
They were respectful and quiet during the movie, which was...
so no one had their phones on and crinkling like...
No, which was really nice.
Because that always happens to me.
Yeah, that happens more often than not. I think because of the film that I saw. But then
that was
also,
good enough to keep people quiet.
It was, but I think it's also one that's not getting a lot of attention, which is... I think it's a bummer because it should. And
is it a British film?
It is. It's not really a British film. It's
Irish.
Yes.
Irish,
and
yeah.
so it's Kenneth Branagh's Belfast. And
this doesn't even come out until like end of January.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, I thought we would have got it.
Well, you would have thought that you would get it before the U.S.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
No,
but,
it doesn't.
Okay.
So
was it good?
Oh, it was phenomenal. I mean, it really was. It is. It's basically telling Kenneth Branagh's boyhood story of just where he grew up. It's a love letter from him to Belfast, where he grew up, and then moved away from. Now, the characters aren't like the character's named Buddy. Maybe that's what he was called as a kid, but is never referred to as like this is actually him. But this is kind of his story, and so they have the street that he grows up on, or that Buddy grows up on, and it's very tight-knit. Everybody knows everybody, but then very quickly we see the tensions and the literal explosiveness of the angst and the antagonism between the Catholic and the Protestant populations, and just how
thick is the accents?
Not thick at all.
Okay.
You can totally understand, because you have Katrina Balfe, Jamie Dornan, Judi Dench, Kieran Hines. So while they have an accent, they are not. It's not like some deep Scottish rogue where you can't understand anything, even though they're speaking English to you. The kid that plays Buddy, the main character, this kid stole the show. I mean, he is ridiculously charismatic.
Have you seen him in anything else before?
This is his first motion picture.
Wow.
So we're seeing him right from the get-go. I mean, he's very expressive, and he's witty and sarcastic. And I read an interview where Kenneth Branagh was like, you're taking this completely newbie and having to mold him. And it's like, don't look at the camera. Remember, do not look at the camera. What don't we do? We don't look at the camera.
And what does he do?
Yeah, he just looking at the camera. But he's so good. And the story has tension, and the story has drama, and it has it has some darkness to it, because we're telling the tale of the time in the early 60s, late 50s, where things are really beginning to become explosive there. Now, Branagh could have really dived into that. He could have gone so much political, so much and when I say political, I just mean the tensions between the two religious sects, that he could have, he could have dived into that and the inner workings of that and all of those motivations within, but he doesn't, because he don't need to. I mean, for this story that's being told, we understand what's going on. We're told that it's the tensions between these two groups. And then we also see even some of the motivations from people who have chosen sides, and what they do and how they affect the family. But it really is this family story. And I mean, I laughed a ton at it, which I didn't expect. But also at the same time, it
doesn't look like that type of film, yeah.
No, it didn't. And that's really thanks to a lot of the characters, actually. I mean, the kid, Jude Hill, I believe his name is, he who plays Buddy. I mean, he's funny and he's very emotive, and just the way that his body mannerisms and he reacts to things. But I mean, Kieran Hines and Judi Dench, those two together, first off, are their banter back and forth, and their chemistry is awesome. But then just as they play off of the scenes, they create some really good subtle humor that made me laugh. But even within the laughing, I am concerned for the outcome of the characters.
It still carries that what's actually going on behind it.
Yeah, there is weight to it. There is emotion. There is and I had this low level dread throughout the entire thing that something really bad was going to happen. And there's even a moment where a shoe drops, kind of, and you're like, oh no, I know what this is going to be. No. And it's not what I expected it to be, which turned out to be okay. It doesn't take away from some of that still emotional weight that was carried, but that illustrates how he could have gone really dark. He could have really dived just into that absolute saddening drama, but he doesn't. And so he's balanced good emotional drama with comedy to tell a really well-rounded story that, I mean, just, it sucked me in. We're like, oh, this is wonderful. More people need to see this and experience this. It's black and white, which, that reminds me. It starts out showing Belfast modern day, and so it shows color. And then it transitions very creatively into black and white. But then there's a thing that Branagh does as he shows the character of Buddy experiencing movies and stage plays and just showing that love. And when they go to see a movie or they see a stage play, when the focus turns from Buddy or his family to the screen, it's shown in color.
That's clever.
Yeah, and then it goes,
because it's basically showing what it means to him. Like
exactly. Just that imagination, that coming to life, all of that. And then, even at one point with Judi Dench, as she's with Buddy, they're watching a stage production. The reflection in her glasses is in color.
Nice.
Yeah, it's just
clever. Really creative.
It was very, very well done. I had a blast with it, and it's short too. It's under 2 hours.
Okay.
So it moves along, but never felt rushed. Never felt like.
How was Jamie Dornan?
Really good. He,
he was Pa.
I'm sorry.
He was Pa.
He was Pa. Yeah. And Katrina Balfe was as Ma. I mean, she's great too. They have good chemistry together. I mean, it's kind of explosive at times, but it feels real based on just the tensions that are going on within their street. This is one. I'm sorry that you don't get to experience it for several months, because it really is. It's one of these that it should be nominated for a bunch of films.
Okay.
I think some of it is because I don't know how much of a wide release it's getting in the U.S., but it's black and white presentation. So it has this art house stigma maybe attached to it, even though it's not really an art house film. And I like art house films when they're done well. So it's not even that. I just think that's what's keeping a lot of audiences away.
I could see why. Even the poster reflects art house. So
yeah.
So,
but yeah, definitely worth checking out when you get the opportunity. So knock people over when it comes into the UK and go get some tickets.
Okay. Wow, nice. It's one I hadn't even heard of, so I'm going to put it on my never
to watch list.
Never watch list. My never-ending list that just grows. So last week I barely mentioned Hit Monkey because it was embargoed. It's just something that I said we need to keep an eye on. The embargo is lifted. It comes out on Tuesday on Hulu. I believe all the episodes are coming out.
Okay.
So I don't think it's a weekly one. So it's one that you can binge, about 20 minutes a piece. And I loved it. And not for the reason I thought I was going to love it. I love the animation style, and I love anime. It's not anime, but it feels like you're watching anime. Oh. It's Marvel's Hit Monkey. It's an IP that nobody really knows about, because it does have like a core demographic of like cult followers that love Hit Monkey, but it's not one that when you say, have you heard of Marvel's Hit Monkey? Most people look like, what? But when you say an upset sniper gets taken out and killed, he has drawn these bad guys that are following him to where these monkeys are in their hot healing baths. They kill all the monkeys but one, and then the assassin comes back as a ghost and is linked to Monkey, and there's a revenge plot. People go, they go from because that's a very interesting plot. So you have martial arts, you have crazy weaponry, you have supernatural creatures, and then you have this buddy cop story where they start out like they hate each other, and they kind of do. to the arc that needs to grow through the characters. And so you have this very interesting story where you start finding out about their paths and what shaped him to become an assassin. And so it's obviously going to be a dark story. You start finding out about Monkey and why he was an outsider, and how Monkey needs to learn how to be in the human world as well as the assassin world as well as the supernatural world. And then Monkey kind of falls for a kind of a human, like there's a human that he likes, and they never go anywhere with it. But it was one area I was like, what do you do with that? Like how far can you push those guys? But yeah, at the end of episode 10 I really wanted more, which speaks volumes. Like if it leaves you going, yeah, that was okay, but I could, I want more. It also leaves it ready to do more, and it leaves it in a place where there's a contained story, but the next bit you really want to see what happens. Fantastic. Put it on your list. It's great. And it's adult, so it's nice to have an adult animated show. Well, I'd say adult, but adult as in it's not a animation series that you would watch with young ones. It's geared towards adults that love an older themed. Because I'm sure older teens would enjoy this. It's probably from that demographic and up.
Does it have like blood and gore?
Lots of blood, lots of gore.
Nice.
Yeah, lots. Like Monkey doesn't know pause. Monkey knows on and off. Kill or don't kill. Like, so when he walks into a room and you threaten him, he will use any weapon available to him, whether it's his claws or a sword or an Uzi. You are going down, and your body might be in many parts, and your guts might be on the window.
You mess with the monkey,
Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. It's so much fun.
It does sound like a good time. I mean, it sounds like really fun. So Hulu, you said, right?
Hulu, yeah, they're trying their original different. I like the fact that they're trying to go different. They don't always hit the mark, but MODOK was different, and I thought they fairly hit that. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. I know lots of people didn't love what was it, the live action Hellsing, something like that. The Supernatural Brother and Sisters. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. But yeah, it doesn't always hit for the audience, but when it does it well. And I think that's mostly to do with the veteran people. So the voice actor, I think, for Hit Monkey has done like over 400 voices on IMDb. Like his list is ridiculous, and the creators behind it really know what they're doing. So yeah, I think everybody should put this on their list.
Well, that leads me to ask, so when the ghost of the assassin takes over Monkey, does Monkey speak?
Yeah, no. So he never takes over Monkey.
Oh.
Monkey just sees him, and the assassin says, "You need to do this. Look to your left. Look to your right." Oh. Monkey can hear him. Okay. Monkey understands human, and that guy actually speaks Monkey. So there's some hilarious moments when there's another ghost that protects the city, needs to speak to, but she can be seen, but needs to speak to a cop, but the ghost needs to speak through the ghost to Monkey, and it's this like weird broken chain, like trying to get the dialogue out, because obviously Monkey speaks Monkey.
Yes.
And nobody knows that he's got a ghost friend except for like very few people, because they can't see the ghost. So Monkey's always like arguing, but we can see him.
Yes.
But
yes.
Yeah. But everybody else is like, that's one crazy monkey. Apart from the fact that he's wearing a suit and dark glasses, has a samurai sword in his back, or Uzi's in his hand.
Oh, it's every day.
Yeah.
So
I do like the fact that lots of people just kind of don't bat an eyelid as he's like walking around. I would stop.
Yeah. Just what's going on there? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, it sounds a little bit almost like how Tom Hardy would argue with Venom in his head, where if you're seeing from the outside, nobody else can hear the voice, and him just.
So the voice actor that plays the assassin is not one that I actually would have picked to play the assassin.
Oh, okay.
But once you hear why, you understand. It's Jason Sudeikis, and he is crude as anything. Like, he will say things that like you don't expect an assassin to say, but it just seems like he begrudges life. So he drinks a lot. He's done with like everything. Life has not dealt him a good hand. And he thinks he's better than everyone as well. And so the fact that he is like technically the sidekick really irks him. So he keeps trying to establish his dominance. But how does he establish his dominance when he can't do anything? He's just a voice that only Monkey can hear and ignore him whenever he wants. It's that sort of banter which plays off so well. Because occasionally Monkey will just like, and you're, some people are like, what is happening? And he was like, that's so rude, Monkey. Can't believe those words came out of your mouth. Yeah, it's great. A lot of fun. Do
they ever like put subtitles or anything to what Monkey says, or do it?
There is an occasional when Monkey speaks to other animals, you read what the animals are saying to him, and that is really cool. Because Monkey has a code that he's a killer of killers. And so the assassin doesn't like that. He said codes get you killed. But as he starts befriending other people, Monkey, those favors start to play a role in the series. And the assassin can't help but acknowledge that Monkey is different and maybe better than him, which is great.
Sounds like a fun show. Now, because it's Marvel's Monkey, right? Was there a comic book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was comic book first. That's where the fans come from first. And I believe that Hit Monkey crosses paths with other characters.
Oh, wow.
So whether that happens, if you go and look in the comics, you can see. I mean, in the world of comics,
sure,
there's a lot that they can do with it.
Yeah. Lots of crossovers, lots of interactions, even for just one issue.
Yeah. Yeah. Suddenly you're in a wormhole and you find yourself in an alternate universe. And I saw a poster with I don't know if it was legit or someone had made it up, but it was Hitmonkey and Deadpool doing like a hand, and it's I could totally see that.
Yeah, that one makes complete sense. Like,
yeah, absolutely. So them doing a mission together, that would be great. An animated film, Hitmonkey and Deadpool would be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
So what's is this your second or third?
This will be my third. Continuing on the anime trend, animated. We have, which we can't talk about, but Cowboy Bebop, the live action, is coming out on Netflix this coming week. And my boys absolutely loved the anime. And they're like, Dad, you need to watch this. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And so over the last couple of weeks, I have been watching it. And I got to say, I love it. I was watching it at first on Hulu, and I don't pay for the non-ad Hulu, so I only have with commercials, and that was getting very frustrating. And then
how many ads do you do in one episode? Because they're short episodes, aren't they?
They are short episodes, yeah, and no, too many ads. And so, but then you told me, hey, it's on Netflix also, and I'm like, well, instant switch. That's totally easy. And it makes sense that it's on Netflix because of the live action series.
Because of the live action, yeah.
I am loving. I loved the anime series. I mean, it is quirky. The Western feel to it.
Yeah, that space adventure with the Western style.
Yeah.
Did you like the music? Because that's a lot of a turning off point for people.
I actually enjoyed it a lot, and I'm not a jazz person, so that
that's interesting.
I can see how it could be a breaking point maybe for some people, but I thought it enhanced everything that was going on. Like the score would really, it was subtle at points where it's kind of it retains some Western feel to it. Maybe sometimes just a slight jazz influence within a Western feel. Yeah. And then it goes full on just jazz at points where the action and everything ramp up. And it didn't bother me. Actually, I enjoyed it so much, like more so that I was like, I wonder if I should buy the LP but just by the score and the soundtrack. And would that be something that I would just listen to on its own, or do I need to have it in context for it? I think I'm still going to only have it within context of the show. But yeah, no, I loved it. The storytelling that I like is, and I know that some people may not like this, is that you have this overarching bigger story, but it's only visited in small portions. And so for the majority of the episodes, you have these individual little side quests, because you have the characters are all bounty hunters. And so they're going after these criminals to, because they're always on, like, bounty hunters that we follow are always on the brink of bankruptcy. I mean, they're sometimes they're really, really hungry. They don't have any gas. So they're just trying to get some money. And so
definitely Firefly got their inspiration from this series 100%.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I mean, it's very creative. All of the characters that they come into contact with. There's the character that became my favorite was Ed, which there's this ongoing thing. Is Ed a boy or a girl? Because Ed, it's Edward, and it's like a really long name, but Ed chose Edward's name. And so it's just, Ed doesn't really, Ed's not integral to a lot of the story, but integral to portions of the story. And
but so, interesting that Ed's your favorite character, though.
I think it's because of the randomness. It really, because Ed will just spout things, and you're like, what the crap? But that totally makes sense within my messed up brain, And so
are you going to watch the movie?
I don't know. I mean, I probably will at some point. My kids had said, it's okay. I mean, you could, it'll fill in portions here and there, but, so because I've finished the series now, like I didn't stop maybe where the movie could have inserted.
I see. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I've seen the full scope of the project, but I love the animation style. I think it looks great.
And it's fairly dated as well. So considering
it is. It's what, 1998, I think.
Is it? Oh, okay. I thought it was older than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fairly. Yeah, it's fairly old, ish. Not.
Yeah, 98. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But when you think 98, 2009, it's over 20 years. So.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's still. I thought it looked great. I mean, it's it's in the 1.3 to 1 ratio or something like that, almost square. So it's, I have a lot of fun with it. I like the adventures. It is slower, so you have to know that going in, that it is this isn't just an always action-packed type of thing, but there are nuances here and there that make it funny, or that give you gut punches, especially as you watch the entire arc that happens. And that's what I really appreciated, that I liked. I get sucked into some of these characters, and then some of them you don't see for a little bit, and then they come back, and it's like, oh wait, I had forgotten about you, or oh, where had you been? And so it's has me I can't talk about the live action, so that
no, we'll talk about that next week.
There we will. Yes, but so if I mean, you've seen Bebop, haven't you?
Of course,
anime?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like in my top 5, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And probably won't ever change, just because I love the quirkiness of the characters. They work so well, and they don't work so well. They're very well thought out. Yeah, they're messed up, but they're still a family unit. And when it comes down to it, you mess with them, one of them, the others, no matter what is irking each other about each other, they're there. And it just makes them very human, even though the fighting styles are so cool. The I'm not into like styles of clothing, but the styles of clothing that they wear, it just works for the anime. And then you have this weird amalgamation of like space worlds and Western, which is so cool when you think about it. Because he's blatantly a detective cowboy, which is cool.
Yeah.
That sells me. And then you say, and it's in space, and you're like, dang, okay.
I'm there.
Cool.
Yeah. And the what's his? I can never remember what his ship is called. Spikes. It's such a cool design. I love that. Just that Swordfish?
That bit when it's
Okay.
when it's in the water as well, like when it kind of skims the surface with its tail. So cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Geek out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Right. So I'm done with my 3, but
okay.
the one that I wanted to bring attention to. Now, I sent you a couple of images this week.
Oh, Lord.
One of which was for a film. Surprisingly, it has 3.5 stars out of 5 on Amazon Prime Video, and it's called House Shark. It was made in 2018. It says 16 plus, but in my opinion, it should be 99 plus. And let me read let me read the synopsis. When Frank finds his happy home under attack by a dangerous but largely unknown breed of shark, he enlists the aid of the world's only house shark expert and a grizzled former real estate agent, Abraham, to embark on a desperate quest to destroy the beast and claim back his life. It's Jaws in a house.
So many questions.
Okay, so spoilers, because I'm going to tell you what happens in one scene. Okay?
Just do it, yeah.
All right. So if anybody was like, "Oh, don't do it," okay, this is. But seriously, this is what these films are made for. There is a babysitter. She's a pretty young woman. I would say she's late teens, maybe early 20s, probably early 20s. She's wearing white, in like short skirt. I'm trying to not be lewd, but to explain the situation, I'll be careful. And so she's looking after a young teen boy, he's 14, 15. She's tucked him into bed and they had a little giggle. And some of the scripting, I think, was like, there were times of like, the scripting isn't bad. There's some dialogue that's quite funny. And then I was like, the audio is recorded like they have a budget. Wow. You know, there were moments I was like, there's almost a film here. Hang on a minute.
But wait.
Okay. So she's on her lady time of the month, and
Okay.
there's a red stain on the white area where that would happen. Okay, and so she's laying back on the couch and she's looking. She's like, and she's holding her tummy, so she's having period cramps. Okay, so she starts walking to the bathroom. What she decides to do then is get completely butt naked.
You're just in the middle of the hallway?
Like her clothes come, like she just, from one scene to the next, she's butt naked before she walks into the bathroom. And then she sits on the toilet and she's having a long wee and she farts and she goes, stupid period cramps. And you're like, okay. But one, she's butt naked. They're not afraid to show her naked. And here comes the best bit. Yeah, if you thought that was crazy, Chris, here's the best bit. You get a reverse camera shot of the butt from inside the toilet.
What?
I'm not even joking. This is a real movie. Thankfully, you don't see the private parts. You just see bottom on seat. Okay. And then it reverses, and the next thing is she's been eaten by a shark thing in the house. The house is eating her because the house is a shark. But I did send you an image today on Facebook Messenger of the shark costume, which is literally a costume. It's a foam costume.
It reminded me, the only thing, like even when you sent me the trailer, I thought instantly Velocipaster.
Yeah, no, it's as bad. I think Velocipaster is better because there are segments in this film where they have 10-minute conversations of dialogue where nothing happens and it's just dull. So in between, they're very impressive, like body horror gore, like that you would have in a proper slasher film. You have these ridiculously long dialogue scenes, and then you get to where the actors are bad and it's really terribly lit. but it looks like they were trying to make an actual film, and it's definitely a comedy. If you listen to the dialogue, you know that there's no ways they're taking themselves seriously with what's been said in the dialogue. And there are actually moments where it's like, that's actually quite clever what you've done there, but no way is that. It's like a student film project, but that has much more of a budget. But then somehow did some nakedness because some teenage thing. Let's have her naked because she's on her period, and then the shark will eat her there. Let's have a butt shot. And I'm like, what is happening? What is this?
So is
Shark House, people.
is the writer also the director?
The writer is Ron Bonk. That's a great name. Sorry, the director is Ron Bonk.
Okay.
I'm gonna look up him now because
I'm just curious. Like, you know, in a lot of these movies, you have the director is also the writer, but then sometimes in that stroke of genius, they're also the editor. And, you know, nothing ever gets cut out because everything that they write is absolute gold. And it just...
Well, he's the producer on a ridiculous amount of films.
Probably
all terrible.
Yeah, well,
all terrible. Yeah. But a lot.
Okay.
So impressed. He's busy finishing up a film now called Trashploitation.
Okay.
Cool. Oh no, he's not. That's done apparently.
Oh,
okay.
Well,
So that's the last thing he directed.
Coming soon.
Let's go to House Shark. This is okay. You're right. Yes, written and directed by Ron Bonk. There you go.
Yeah, that seems to be the pattern there for most of these. But it is on Amazon Prime. So
yes, that obviously means it's good.
Yeah, well, it is in that category there. That I don't know.
The tagline for the film is "You're gonna need a bigger house."
Oh, God. just
George is rolling over in its grave. No.
Oh goodness! Oh, that's so terrible. I'm gonna have to watch.
Anyway, add this to your list, people.
Yes. Oh, that's great. Okay. Well, one that I want to draw attention to it's called Yellowjackets, and it is on Showtime. It was scheduled actually to drop this week, the premiere. It's a weekly release of a show, but they released the premiere episode, the pilot, several days ago. And this is one of those that we talked several weeks ago about how many different streaming platforms we subscribe to and all the money, and I couldn't remember, did we still have Showtime? I don't know. And my wife and I were even like, I think we're going to get rid of it. But then she saw this trailer for Yellowjackets, and she's like, dang it, just when I thought I was going to let the subscription expire, this one comes around, and it has me intrigued. And it is a mix of Lost, Mean Girls, Lord of the Flies, and Alive, the movie of the soccer players in the
when
Andes.
They eat each other.
Yeah. So now, you have this group of girls who it flashes back between high school years and then present, and so you get to see their interactions. But the show starts out with this very not necessarily ambiguous, but somewhat ambiguous opening sequence of a person running through the snow, like obviously being chased by somebody. They're kind of bleeding. Right. They fall into a hole and out in the middle of just the wilderness, and bad things happen. And then we go back to the present. You know what I mean? We're so the story bounces back and forth. It's not a perfect execution yet, but it has me enough intrigued because we know that from what we've seen, where from the present day, that these characters have a hidden story, that there's something that happened when they were in high school in the wilderness that is bad, that it went dark, And we don't know exactly why. We don't know if it was out of a survival means or if it was the events. I mean, we know the catalyst for them being in the wilderness, but the events surrounding what happens within the wilderness, we don't know yet. And so it has the potential to go very, very stupid. I acknowledge this. But right now I'm sucked in enough to the story and the narrative where I'm like, I want to know why you're keeping this secret, because it whatever happened has really affected you in a negative way into your adult life, and you're dealing with those ramifications. And then we get to see, then we flash back to the high school days where you get to see that dynamic and how there's that perceived hierarchy, of just how high school is, how people are terrible to each other because they believe things matter that really don't matter. I mean, once we get into adult life, we're like, wait, I thought that was important, and I picked on you for that, or I looked down upon you for that, or I held you up for this reason, and it's like, all of that was stupid, and so you get to see all of those tensions. We have Melanie Linsky, Juliette Lewis, Christina Ricci, Tawny Cypress, and Ella Purnell, who Ella Purnell was most recently in.
I haven't seen Christina Ricci in ages.
I know. Well, that was the one that I was like, what? Just in the trailer, I'm like, wait, is that her? And then it flashes on her for a little bit longer. I'm like, ooh, it is. Ella Purnell was in Army of the Dead. She's also I believe she voices Jinx in Arcane.
Oh,
so
nice. Who was she in Army of the Dead? Oh wait, no, I'm thinking a different Army of the Dead. It's like the Evil Dead.
Oh
Army
yeah,
of the Dead?
not Army of Darkness. Yeah, Army of the Dead with Zack Snyder's thing. She was what's his face? Dave Bautista's daughter.
Yes. Okay, cool.
She's actually the terrible person who causes everybody to die in that movie.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Can I read you something?
Yes, please.
Okay. The series revolves around a group of teenagers who are left stranded on a deserted island after a plane crash, but are unaware they are subjects of a social environment, and receive positive reviews from critics with praise for performances, writing, and plot. The second season has been renewed. This series is an Amazon original called The Wilds.
Huh.
Sounds very similar to what you've just described me.
Yeah, now... That one, though, was I correct in like that it's being observed, like it's a social experiment? Is that
I think so, but you don't know for a long time.
Okay.
But they do jump back into their past, like they do that juxtaposition of what happened and why.
Okay. I don't get the sense from this one that it's taking that bent.
Okay, good.
What we see, if anything, more than anything, I would see Lord of the Flies.
Right.
Now, there are, like I mentioned, that it is not perfect. I mean, there are things within this that my wife and I were discussing that, that bothered us or that I have questions about that, but I have to give it...
Did you watch the whole lot?
No, I've only seen one episode.
Okay,
So that's why I'm like, it has me engaged. I want to see more. The story itself has hooked me. So I'm like, okay, yes, you've got me. I'm enjoying these characters. I want to know where this is leading. I still have all of these problems over here. Some of them are very minor, but they bother me. Like the high school years takes place in 1996.
Yeah.
Some of the music is feels like the show.
Does it not belong there?
Well, it's minor. Like it should be a couple years earlier.
Right.
Like it really would feel more at home if this was taking place in like 90 to 93, not 96. Yeah. And I know that is a very
specific.
Yeah, it's very minor and it is very specific. But like the reason I say this is, and it's stupid and probably more tangent than we need to get on, but I'm going to go there anyway. Working in radio for as long as I did, you have your top hit stations where they have a very narrow rotation of songs, but they're only the things that are very, very current at that moment. And then you have other stations where they just play older stuff. You don't really have anything that plays within, these are songs that were the last several years, the last like 3 or 4 years. So the two characters are in the car and they're listening to a cassette. and the person ejects it, and then on there is Snow's Informer, which I think was like 1990 is when it came out, or 91, something like that.
Yeah.
So, but it's playing on the radio, and it minor again, but it tweaked me out because I'm like, I don't buy that the radio station would be playing that song that long after its height, but then also that shortness,
Yeah.
Anyway, the costume design.
Just for our listeners, do you want to explain what a tape is? And maybe put an image of a tape?
A cassette player, yes. A cassette tape.
Where you have to physically push a button and eject it.
Yes, and always have a pencil nearby. Because
right.
The magnetic tape.
Sorry, I stopped your tangent.
No, that's fine. My tangent was really done. I mean, from the music point of it. But I mean, the outfits feel fairly legit. Like for that time period, and I know the early to mid 90s was kind of a weird time also because you had a lot of different influences coming in.
Yeah.
But it just anyway.
What's the age demographic? Do you think that it's pitched at?
I think
it's always difficult for me to go as a reviewer. I'm this old dude who's watching a series about young teenagers. Not that can't, but if it manages to get you engaged, that means it's definitely going to get the demographic that it's probably going for. Or is it like a wide one because it's like an adventure sort of?
I think it's more
mystery.
Wide. I mean, really, I think more. In some ways, it's actually geared more towards our demographic, the Gen X.
Okay, that's interesting.
Era,
because it's got that.
Yeah, because these characters are our characters. I mean, they're
right.
Ish. I mean, they're a little
like Christina Ricci's not young.
No, and Melanie Linsky isn't young either. I mean, she's not old. I'm not saying that, but they're not.
But we're not old, so
exactly. They're right within our age range ish. So that's why I feel like it's actually targeted towards us as Generation X.
It does sound interesting.
Yeah,
great cast.
It is. The young actors are really good too. I'm enjoying them. The older actors, they're great. I mean, Juliette Lewis is outstanding.
I mean, she's phenomenal in pretty much everything she's in.
Yeah, and Melanie Linsky, I have loved her since I saw her in Heavenly Creatures. The Peter Jackson. But she does really
underrated
well too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So this one, I mean, something to check out. I can't recommend it like absolutely this is going to be the best series ever. It may fall apart after episode 2. I don't know. But
okay.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Cool. Yeah. Well, I'm all done. You're all done. Should we talk about what we're excited for, or was that going in the podcast section?
I think we can do that. We can stretch this out a little bit.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead?
So there's lots of Netflix stuff coming out.
Yeah.
Obviously, Cowboy and Bebop, I think, will be our main focus because it's a big title. Not necessarily whether we like it or we don't like it. It's just because it's big. Mm-hmm. But the one I'm very excited to talk about in full is Hellbound.
Me too.
Yeah. Did you see it? Did they get back to you?
No, they did not.
I've been holding my fingers like, come on, I want to chat to Chris about it. I need to talk to Chris about this.
Yeah, no, I think I'm going to lose sleep come Friday at midnight.
I think probably will do.
Just going to stay up and watch it and die the next day, but I'm sure it will be worth it.
Unfortunately, Chris, it's not the most action-heavy one either. There's also a lot of dialogue.
Oh,
it's heavy dialogue.
So have some caffeine next to me.
Yes, yes.
Because
be ready.
I do notice that sometimes when I'm really tired and I have to read the subtitles, it begins to put my eyes more to sleep. I think a little bit, not because the content isn't awesome, just because I'm reading. And I don't do dub for the most part, so.
Right.
Okay.
Tick, Tick, Boom. I'm looking forward to that. It
Yes.
comes out next Friday. And, probably will be big, but probably not as big as when it first came out, is Tiger King, the second season.
I'm so looking forward to this train wreck.
Yes, it's going to be messy. I can't wait to see the memes of what people use Tiger King season 2, and then the she definitely killed her husband, and then the law case that comes out of it afterwards.
Carol Baskin, yes.
Yeah, and she's getting her own series as well or something.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's gonna go on forever, and I've seen recently of them in the news where they have so much money now they don't know what to do with it. The people involved in the project.
Oh, really?
They out of the Netflix.
Oh, wow.
They made a lot of money, so that makes me saddened a bit because everybody involved seemed like they were just a bit dodgy, man. Like when it came to the animals themselves, I was just like, you guys go do what you need to do. Please leave the animals alone.
Exactly.
That's all I want out of this.
Yes.
But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to watch. I think we'll be riveted, not necessarily, I don't know if it's enjoyment, but I guess it's enjoyment. It's a weird enjoyment.
Captivating. Like train wreck that you can't look away from.
Yes, exactly that. So, I mean, that's all the Netflix content coming out this week. I know I'm sitting on Hannah season 3 and Alex Rider season 2. I'm not sure whether they come out this week or on the embargo list, but that's definitely on my radar. Alex Rider was a big fan of. I know it's got a huge fan base when it comes to the books. Hannah, I loved the first season, but I still regard the film as much better than the series.
Okay.
I wasn't a huge fan of the second season. I know some people liked it, but I thought it was okay. I'm hoping, because I think this is the final season to finish off the story, that they finish it off strong. I want to get back to that decent hand-to-hand combat where they didn't cut into it because they're trying to pretend it's better than it actually is. Oh. Because if you go and look at the hand-to-hand combat of the film, it's incredible. It's still regarded today as having, I think you get the top 10 best Steadicam shots, and it's in there, the film.
Oh, wow.
Because they don't cut. There's a segment where they don't cut, and it just follows them, and you get to see all the movement, and it's like medium wide, and that I appreciate. And that's what I want for that. Anything else on your radar?
So everything you listed, Cowboy Bebop, Hellbound, Tiger King. The other one that I'm looking forward to is The Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime with Rosamund Pike.
When does it actually come out?
It comes out this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How are they doing that? Is it like the entire series or first 3 or something?
I don't know. I've seen, when I've gone to the theater several times, I've seen they've been playing the trailer for it quite often. And it
does have a big budget, so
yeah, I'm hopeful that it will be done well. I don't really know anything about the story other than...
The books are really wordy.
Okay.
That just means that I like to read teen easy books, and this book it's from a while back. Okay. And if you think, like, if you're reading The Gunslinger from Stephen King, or you're reading some of Stephen King's other novels that are easier to read, it's that sort of palette. Some people love it, some people don't, the books.
Okay.
I know it has a mixed reaction, but the way the series looks, it looks incredible. Like, visually, it looks like big and stunning and adventurous. I'm hoping that it has characters that we could like amongst the adventure. So yeah, that's a good one.
Sweet. All right. Yeah, packed week coming up, which means
yes,
fun to talk about next week.
Yes, we will be tired, red-eyed, but here. Yes. For our wonderful listeners.
Yes.
And talking to our listeners and watchers, if there is a title that you've watched recently that just captivated you and you think it should definitely be on the best thing we watched, we'd love to hear from you. You can tweet at us. What's the tweet?
Best
Chris?
We watched.
Best we watched. Or you can just chat to us on our either YouTube pages and we'll incorporate it into the next week. Yeah, absolutely, because there are some like we try what we've been trying to do in these last couple of weeks is draw attention to something new or unknown that maybe not is on everybody's radar, and so that would also be something outstanding if you let us know, hey, I've been watching this. Cool. Yeah, like Shark House, right?
Exactly. Just like Shark House. I mean, come on.
Just like Shark
Or House Shark. Is that what it is? It doesn't really matter. I mean,
I
it's
don't know. Yeah. My brain is already like deleting the files from that.
Oh goodness. Well, hey, thanks. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sticking around. Like, share, subscribe. Ruben with the Ruby Tuesday. I'm Chris with Movies and Munchies.
You see these nails, Chris? I did this with permanent marker.
Oh, you didn't actually paint them?
No, we don't have like. Kirsten doesn't
do
like
nail polish?
much makeup,
Okay.
so I don't know how I'm gonna get this off, or the eye stuff that is waterproof.
I think you should just go to the shops like that.
Yes, I mean, if they judge me, I will judge them back.
Yes, exactly. I don't think there's anything wrong. Just go exactly how you are. You look great. But thank you so much
fun.
again. We'll catch you next week.